This last summer was the strongest buyer's market on record for the last decade. And that's across the entire United States. In the Bay Area, it's more of a balanced market, as you know, and we'll go over price reductions here in a minute. So stay tuned. There are estimated 500,000 home sellers, 500,000 more home sellers than buyers in August, meaning that buyers had the advantage. They had leverage. They were like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be picky. But you know what? I've been telling you this for the last 3 years. Again, is this a buyer's market? In certain markets, real estate isn't one aggregate huge. I mean, it can be, but when you look at buyers and sellers, it's micro markets, not even down to the zip code, down to the neighborhood, right? So it's not that buyers don't look at just that house in a 1 mile radius. They look at multiple houses. They look at 200, 300, 400, sometimes 50, depends on their desire, homes that in their area, and they whittle it down to what they want. And then they go out of this top 20 or 30 or 40 homes. I want to look at these 10 homes or 5 homes. So if your house is built out of straw and you haven't done anything over the last couple years or decades to your house and you have it overpriced, buyers are going to see that and they're not going to bother looking at your house, period. Right? So this article here goes through all this stuff, and I'm sure that there's data. I didn't even read it, but I wanted to talk about it. The buyers have the advantage right now. If you can afford to buy a house, this is a great time to do it. When we start dropping rates over the next 2-3 months, October and November, we're going to see another couple quarter point drops. More buyers will enter the market. It's common sense, right? On the whole, it's much more affordable to buy a house at 5.5% than it is at 7%. However, when there's more buyers, that means there's more competition. So just understand that this was a turning point. This is the top of the market. At the bottom of the market. And we'll probably see prices go up, more sales happen, more people come on market. When you're stuck in a 2.5%, 3% loan and your next option is to buy a house at 7%, even 6%, it doesn't make sense. If it drops it down to 5.5 or 5 when you buy a point down, then it becomes a little more appealing. There you go. I need more coffee. It becomes much more appealing to the sellers on the mass for them to come in and say, yes, let's put this house on the market. I want to find something else, but it's a sticky wicket. Because if you sell your house, you have to have the contingency that you will locate, get in a contract, and complete the sale before you allow your current home sale to actually go through, because you're not going to sell and be homeless. So it's a sticky wicket because now you have more competition. I've been telling you this for the last 3 years. Florida and Texas are the strongest buyers markets. Newark and Nassau are the strongest sellers markets. Denver and Las Vegas have shifted most towards buyers markets in recent months. There you go. Link is in my blog. Go ahead, take a look at it. And this is from Realty Times. There you go. All right, this is Los Gatos House of the week, and I had one picked out. Dang nabbit. Who was? Yeah, no, is it this one? No, it's this one. I thought this was a very nice looking house that was built in 1899. I don't know if that's exactly how old it is, but dang, that is old. I mean, for California, right? So this is what I would consider a standard Victorian house. And I'm glad that the agent put their floor plan on. I guess it's a duplex. Oh yeah, I guess it is. There you go. And here's the thing, right? You get to be in Los Gatos. The tough thing is where it's located. It's on the other side of the university in Santa Cruz. So you would have to take a car to get there. However, you could walk down Main Street and make it a nice leisurely stroll. So this is a nice house for $2.3 million. And it looks like, yeah, there it is. It's a upstairs, downstairs duplex. Not my favorite look and feel, but if you have to be in Los Gatos, it's going to be on a busy road. 2.3 and 2.3 million, and your renter can actually rent out the bottom half and help you with your mortgage. It's a good option for you. It's 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, 3,200 square feet. I think it's a bargain for a 126-year-old house if you're okay living on a busy street. Compass is buying anywhere real estate. Anywhere is a aggregator company, a conglomerate that buys other companies and profits off of them. And here's my problem with this. I was an independent broker for 17 years. And then I figured I was going to move all my administrative compliance and legal to a broker like Compass or what have you, so that I didn't have to worry about that or manage it. And for that, there was a cost. So I went to Coldwell Banker for like 6 months. I didn't like their software they required me to use. It was a little too nitpicky. And within that time frame, Compass picked me up. They recruited me and they gave me an offer. I said, sure, why not? And I went there, and great people, loved the bosses, loved everything about it except for the corporate structure on it. They asked me for knowing where my sales were coming from. And that's not what I joined real estate for. It was like being in a corporate structure, even though I was an independent agent, because we're all independent. We're all 1099 contractors, right? They don't give me a salary. They don't do anything except for take a hit on my commission, which that's fair. My business grew. I loved it. But somehow their contract kept on nickel and diming me. And I just said, that's enough. I don't want it. I don't want any more with that. I don't want to deal with big corporate structure. So I went to Real. The problem about Compass is they're like Zillow and Redfin, their corporate structure is designed solely for profit. They don't care about the agent. I'm sure they care about the agents, but they make it feel like that we're just a number. And when you become such a massive company, you forget about what the real reason is you're in business for. And for me, I want to serve my people. I want to serve my clients. That's what the individual agent does. Hanging my license on a huge conglomerate of a company, I felt didn't help me at all. Doesn't help my clients at all. And I understand that they have, the exclusive look. They have off market, and my feelings on that is that exclusives don't necessarily tell you what your true value of your house is worth. You're not opening it up to the entire market. We just got in a contract on one of my listings, and I had it on market for longer than what I wanted to, but I wanted to have time for it to see what the market would bring. I got to do that. When you're on an exclusive, you don't necessarily get to see what the entire market, the whole inventory of buyers that are out there are going to say that your house is worth. And we went back and said that there's X amount of buyers out there, and they're looking at 100 to 400 homes, and they're going to decide to look at 10 to 20 homes, and they're going to make a decision on buying 1 or 2 of them. When you have an exclusive, you have to work within their system, and you have to give them this, and you have to do that, and it doesn't really help. The problem with what's happening here in Compass buying anywhere is that they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And how does that advantage you as a buyer or seller? I don't think it does. Century 21, Compass, anywhere, they're all going to jump in and become this huge conglomerate of a company. Why? What? I don't understand the value of that. Right? Yeah, they have market share. Yeah, they have this. But at the end of the day, are you working with an agent that knows the market, that is experienced, that understands how to negotiate and how to market your property right, how to get your house staged up, and how to affect repairs to make sure that you profit the most, not necessarily the brokerage? That's the problem I have with these big companies. And that's why I shy away from them. I spent some time learning about it. It just didn't fit my needs or my focus of how to serve you as a client. I'm not saying that the agents, I know lots of agents that work for Compass and Colwell and Century 21 and all these other companies. I think they do a great job, right? But the corporate feel of this just doesn't make me feel like it's going to help us or you. Tomorrow, we're talking about something a little bit more antitrust, which we'll go into. So be sure to tune in tomorrow about why Compass is doing what they're doing. Okay, enough of that. I didn't focus on this, sorry. All right, so the highest, let me make this for you real quick. Okay, let's get into this. All right. This is the highest sold home in Santa Clara County. This is La Paloma, not my listing, sold for $9.8 million, which is 100.9% over list price, almost 1% over list price. It's 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath, 5,000 square feet on an acre, built in 1992. It's in Los Altos Hills. Nothing exciting about that except for it's in Palo Alto or Los Altos Hills. Leptis Circle is the lowest priced home in Santa Clara County. This is right off of Dunn, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,600 square foot, sold for $790. Off market. Is this home? It's a detached home too. Is this home worth $790? We don't know because it was sold off market. It could have been worth $825. Could have been worth $850. That's the problem I have with the exclusive looks. And this is the highest jump. Here's the thing, right? I'm not allowed to tell you that this is an area that's not super fancy. I used to live right here. So here's the thing. When you sell your house, it doesn't matter what you list your house at. I'll tell you right now, this one was listed right at $1 million and it sold in one day for 1.5. That's how you get the market done, right? $900 million for a house here, and it's all done up, pretty looking, and it's completely redone. And is it done perfectly? Probably not, because it's a flip, but it doesn't matter because this guy is all about getting this thing into market, getting it sold, and moving on. I don't know why there's two different things. Oh, this is a virtual picture there. That's nice. And they put the floor plan in. So thank you for that. So here's the thing, right? They redid the kitchen, they redid the floors, they redid everything. They probably put $200,000-$300,000 into it, and now it's worth $1.5 million because that's what a buyer was willing to pay for it. Put it on market, get it sold, boom, done, right? Don't mess around with the list price. When you think your house is worth $1.6 million and it's not, and it sits on market for 30 days, it's overpriced. If it sits on market for 90 days, you're just being stubborn, because the market is not telling you your house, or is not telling you, the market is telling you that the house is worth not $1.6 million. It's worth less, right? And this is the lowest list price to sales price. Clayton Road. Let's take a quick look at where Clayton Road is real quick. I'm gonna go to here real quick. Boom. There. Clayton Road is, where's my mouse? There we go. Yeah. So you're doing some driving to get here. That's the problem. So you might have like a 2 or 3 mile radius to figure out what the comps are, and your comps might suggest that because you're next to the country club, which is right here. But the fact is you're out in the country. I've sold houses over here before, and it's just a different feel. When you're out in the country, it's totally different. There's nothing wrong with the East Foothills. It's beautiful homes out there. This is a beautiful house, I'm sure. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 3,200 square feet. Not my listing. Took 130 days to sell. Why? Because the seller thought it was worth $2.5 million. Drop it down to 2.2, and after a few weeks, you get an offer for under $2 million. Why? Because you wanted to be the market maker. Now look, if your house is gargantuan and majestic and updated, I understand. But look, these are like 1980s look and feel right here, right? 1980s. That's a nice looking kitchen. I'll guarantee you that, but it's not been updated. Look at the tile everywhere. This house is a fixer-upper. This is awesome. I love this, except for it's dated. You can't ask a premium on a dated house. Don't put your ego into this when you're selling a house. Your house is worth what buyers are willing to buy it for. And if you're on market for over 30 days, you're overpriced. Period. I don't know how else to tell you this. This is the list price reduction of the week. Blackfoot Court, still active, not my listing, on market 55 days. They started at 1.85 and now they're down to 1.7. You could probably pick this up for 1.5. Why? Because it's been on market for too long. They overpriced it. There's nothing wrong with this house. It's a beautiful house. They just overpriced it. And once you have your cadre of buyers go through, again, they've looked at this house, which has dated bathroom, dated, was the kitchen dated? Let's see, where's the kitchen? Oh yeah, it's nice. You put the bathrooms in front of the kitchens. That's good marketing. There, okay. So that's a nice looking kitchen, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but it's dated, right? I love wood. I love granite. I prefer that look than my kitchen because my kitchen looks plastic. I have quartz on my counters. I have painted cabinets, and it just doesn't have that warm feel to it. However, that's the style that people are looking for. That's the style that people are buying today. And look, there's a beautiful pool back there with a waterfall, but the coping is dated. So I think that's Davis. Yeah, that's Davis. And it's on a cul-de-sac. This thing, if you had this thing listed at 1.5, you would have had this thing sold in a week or two. Buyers will tell you what your house is worth. Sellers, if your ego gets stuck on a price, your house will not sell. Period. All right. Those are all the numbers right now, but really what I want to show you is we have 260 price reductions of the almost 1,200. That's 22% of the homes that are on market have been overpriced. It goes back to the buyer's market. Buyers are being picky. If you're okay sitting on the market, you're only going to get a lower price. Anything over 15 days, your price is not what the house is worth. Your price is your ego. And if you take your ego out of it, your house will sell. Let your agent do their job. Period. Okay, I think I harped on that long enough. I tell you this over and over again, yet buyers or sellers come to me and say, my house is worth this. And I go, well, you got to prove to me how. Show me the numbers. Well, it was like this 6 months ago. 6 months was 6 months ago. It's a totally different market. We're talking about the last 15 to 30 days. We're looking backwards 90 days max because houses are selling and buyers are working on it. Buyers are the downward influence. Sellers are the upward influence. Brokers bring them buyers and sellers together with reality, right? So just understand that we're here to help you do this. If you stand in our way and say, I don't want to stage, or I don't want to do this upgrade, or I don't want to do this, lower the price, lower the expectation, and your house will sell. Otherwise, you're going to think that your agent's an idiot. That's all I have to say. I'm Vito with Abitano. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out there.